Welcome to our second Yogatonia online workshop. I know there's a few of you who have already joined, and we may be having some more participants trickle in. For those of you who are already online and watching, welcome. I'm so glad to be here with you today. If you're new to me, my name is Jaya. And I have had the privilege of working with the Edmonton chapter of the Dystonia Foundation for, I think, around the past 7 or 8 years. And if you met with me last week or you know me previously, then you know a little bit of my history. And I'll just briefly share that I have been practicing yoga for over 20 years. I've been teaching for around 14 in the Edmonton and surrounding areas. And I've been very, very fortunate to work with a diverse range of people within the population, from those that bodybuild. I've worked quite extensively with people who experience addictions, people who have different levels of abilities. And as I shared 2 weeks ago, and I'll share again today, the thing that I find in common with all people, regardless of what's happening within the body, within the mind, within the circumstances of life, is that we all experience suffering. And this, to me, is really where the practice of yoga can serve us. Of course, yoga does many things with our bodies to help us stabilize and support the nervous system, to strengthen, to increase range of motion, to put our bodies at ease. But more importantly, when we're interacting with the breath, we see quite a difference within our mental realm and our capacity to make a distinction between things that are painful, because we can't always avoid those aspects of life, the difficulties of life. But there's a ridge between pain and suffering. And yoga helps us to really oxygenate this area so that we can make intelligent choices, so that we can soothe our nervous systems, so that we can really distill all the complexities that are happening within our mental realms into a simplicity in which we know what's true for ourselves within. So in this Yogatonia workshop, we do focus just quite a bit on breathing, which always sounds a little bit simpler than it is. In my experience of working with people that are having especially physical pain, what quite quickly happens is that the mind and the breath are interacting. And so what we see happening in the breath, we see impacting the mind, and what we see happening in the mind, we see impacting the breath. And so we work very, very simplistically with the breath, and this has that wonderful collateral impact of soothing sort of the contraction that we experience. When I'm in pain in my own body, it's really, really easy to start feeling, for myself, maybe a little bit apathetic, frustrated, thoughts of fear. And then we're just sort of really, really tightly wound. And it's really, really challenging to just find a baseline of enjoyment with our lives. So in this workshop, we'll be focusing on the breath. We're continuing to experiment with what kind of actual physical practice can be accessible to everyone. So I'll ask that everybody is essentially muted on this technology, and Archana, who is my support tech, will step in if something does disconnect. We will quite quickly resolve this, and I'll be back talking with you. If you haven't already, I will be using a chair for the first portion of practice, and then I'll be moving down towards the mat, and I'll give you some transition time. This is a lengthier practice. It is until 2 o'clock. I'll be finishing a few minutes before. But about the midway point, I'll be offering an opportunity, if you're feeling quite fatigued, you'd like to finish practice, I'll invite you towards a relaxation. And those that are feeling up for the full 2 hours can, of course, continue with me. So any questions that you have, you can post them within the comment section. I won't be looking at them during the workshop just because it's a little distracting. And I'm continuing to learn this technology, but there'll also be a survey sent out on Monday. I'll remind you again at the end of practice. So to begin, I would actually like to share with you one of my most favorite poems, and then I'll be inviting you to get situated on your chair so that we can begin breathing and moving together. This is a poem by Rumi that inspires me often when I'm feeling challenged within my life. He said, "This being human is a guest house, and every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and attend them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Welcome difficulty. Learn the alchemy true human beings know. The moment you accept what troubles you've been given, the door opens. Welcome difficulty as a familiar comrade. Joke with torment brought by the friend. Sorrows are the rags of old clothes and jackets that serve to cover and then are taken off. That undressing and the beautiful body underneath is the sweetness that comes after grief." And so I like to remember that every difficulty can be welcomed into a space of loving awareness that drops us beneath pain and pleasure, because there is a peace that underlies polarities, and this is your birthright and belongs to you. With that in mind, let's arrange ourselves onto the chair if you haven't already, taking as much time and as much safety as you need. I'm hoping that the light behind me isn't too distracting. It's sort of the best place in my house so that my children aren't going to overtake us. So bringing yourself to sit onto a chair, taking as much time as you need to be comfortable. You can sit all the way back onto the chair, midpoint, or a little forward, whichever is allowing the most stability. Once you arrive, you can place the hands on the lap, inviting the soles of your feet to connect to the floor. And if comfortable and if available, allowing the outer eyes to become soft and at last closed. And then gifting yourself the arrival, a space of grace, as you begin to release the residue of your morning or the busyness of your week. And allow yourself to simply be here, noticing the four corners of each foot, feeling available to the sits bones touching the chair. As best as your body allows, allow for a wonderful nobility within the spine, lifting the spine just as much as you're allowed within your symptoms today. And the shoulders begin to fall as if they were emptying out of the base of your skull. Invite the belly to be very soft. So many of us tucking the belly in. This is your space for the belly to be very open, receptive to your natural breath. And now just becoming aware of that natural breath. There's no work to be done in this moment. It's as though you could feel concentration at the tip of the nose. And just noticing the passage of your natural inhale and your natural exhale at this doorway of the nose. And don't worry if the mind naturally thinks thoughts. Those begin to move into the periphery of awareness. And you're just here soothing the mind by paying attention to the breath at the nose. The same relaxed way that you pay attention to the summer breeze and allow the sunshine's warmth upon your skin. it's tempting to gather a furrow into the eyebrows. Feel the eyebrows relaxing. And little by little, we begin to aerate the body as we bring fresh breath into every cell. We can begin by focusing the breath very low into the abdomen. As you begin to inhale, feel the inhale floating the abdomen off of the spine. And as you exhale, the breath empties and the belly gently begins to deflate, and you'll hug the belly in just lightly at the bottom of the breath. And we're just going one breath at a time. Every inhalation, begin to feel the breath in the belly. The belly floats and expands. And as you exhale, the belly empties, the mind clears, and there's just a very gentle hug in the abdomen, exchanging stagnancy for fluidity. Let's take this abdominal breath a few more rounds. Inhale, the belly floats, the shoulders relax. And exhale, just easing yourself into the moment, that little belly squeeze at the bottom of the breath. Let's do 2 more, inhaling fullness. And exhale, soothing the mind, body, emptying the breath. Last one, deep inhale to the belly. And exhale, releasing. Continuing with this breath, but we're going to include the rib cage so the breath rises. As you inhale, allow the belly to float and begin to feel that your ribs open off of your heart as if moving to the sides of the room. Let's try this a few rounds. As you inhale, the belly lifts. The ribs become buoyant. It might be subtle, that's okay. And as you exhale, there's just a loving sense of compression, like when we bring our palms together. Good, let's try 3 rounds with a deeper breath. Inhaling belly, inhaling ribs, and exhale, this deep release. Trust the cells are letting go of all that no longer serves. 2 more rounds. Inhaling the belly and the ribs. And exhale, releasing. Good, last one. Inhaling. And exhaling. We're working towards a 3-part breath now. We have the abdomen, the ribs, and now the breath can lift a little bit towards the collarbones. We're going to slow the nervous system down. Let's try this. Inhaling into the belly, feel the breath more into the ribs, and see if you can get the breath just to crawl up towards the throat. It may feel a little stagnant, that's okay, take your time. Inhaling belly, inhaling ribs, inhaling into the collarbones. And as you exhale, this all reverses. The breath is emptying, hugging the belly into the spine, keeping a relaxed face. Let's do 3 more rounds together with this fuller breath. Inhale belly, side ribs, little higher into the collarbones. And exhale, releasing. It's okay if your breath doesn't match my instruction. You're always at your own pace. Let's do 2 more. Inhaling just as best your body allows. Seeing if you can sip the breath in like thirsty on a hot day. And exhale, releasing. Good, just one more this way. Inhaling belly, side ribs, and right under the collarbones. This can be a very congested area up here. And exhale, releasing. As best now as your hands allow, bring your palms together at your heart. Let the chin just softly humble down. And you can set yourself what we call a sankalpa, which is a private intention for your practice. It can be to focus on the breath, to release stress, to listen to your intelligence. There's not a wrong intention. And now continuing with breath and movement, allow your hands to release down by the sides of the chair. As you inhale, begin to lift the shoulders up towards the ears, press them to the back of the chair, and let them sink to the earth. Good, again, let's draw the shoulders forward. Inhale the shoulders up to the ears. Release them to the back of the chair, dropping them to the earth, and let's circle them one more time. Feel the inhale rising in the belly, in the shoulders, in the mind, and exhale, releasing. Let's go in the opposite direction. These are very exaggerated rolls. Squeeze the shoulder blades, lift the shoulder blades up, the shoulders forward and down. Good, 2 more. Squeeze the shoulders to the back of the chair. Inhale them to the ears. And exhale, releasing forward. We've just 1 more this way. Big exaggerated shoulders. These areas get quite stuck on all of us. And releasing the shoulders down towards the ground. Very nice. Now thinking of your right arm. As you inhale, the right arm draws to the right side. You'll rise it towards the ear if your symptoms are allowing. As you exhale, reach the fingertips and glide the arm back down to the earth. Imagine your hand moving through fabric. Inhale, the left arm begins to rise to the side. You'll reach it only as high as your symptoms allow. And exhale, releasing the left fingertips down to the earth. Good, we're going to try on the right side again. 1 breath, 1 movement. Inhale, the right arm rises. Feel how the movement is encouraging a longer breath. And exhale, the right fingertips release, emptying the mind of all its old ideas. Good, left arm. Inhale, the left arm rises to the side. It might come up to the sky. And exhale, releasing those left fingertips down towards the ground. Good work. Let's try both arms now. Inhale, the arms rise to sides and high up towards the sky. Again, you can always pause at any point. And exhale, releasing the fingertips all the way back down towards the ground. Good, we'll do 2 more of these. Inhale, the arms float to the sides, rising up these wings of awareness. And as you exhale, think of actively pressing through the fingers, through the palms, as if pressing an ocean wave back to the ocean floor. We have 1 more together. Good job. Inhaling the arms to sides, rising them just as much as your body allows. And exhale, releasing the fingertips all the way back down to the ground. Good. Now, again, only on your right arm. Inhale, the right arm rises to the sky. As you exhale, release your hand towards the back of the head or the back of the heart. Just take a little pause here. If it's available on your body, the left hand can take a hold of the right elbow, giving a little bit of encouragement. Otherwise, this is plenty of opening without the addition of that left hand. Especially if your neck is presenting a lot of symptoms, you're always moving in accordance with what feels best for your body. Good, let's release the supportive arm and begin to release the right elbow and the right hand back down to the ground. Trying our left arm. Inhale, the left arm rises to the side, up to the sky. Exhale, the hand to the back of the heart. Again, you can stay, or that right arm lifts up to touch the left elbow. You might find a little bit of support. And notice what's happening in the breath. Inhaling through the abdomen, the ribs, and the collarbones. Good, let's release that supportive arm if it was lifted, and releasing through the left elbow, and the left hand falls towards the ground. Good, now arms in front, inhaling the arms in front and overhead. As you exhale, release the left hand to the side of the chair. You might be able to see that I'm just hanging onto the edge of the chair. Gently begin to hinge to the left. Just enough you feel the right side waist. If your shoulder and neck are quite sore, keeping that top arm bent at the elbow and quite soft. Let's take 2 conscious breaths here. Inhaling through any distraction in the belly, in the ribs, in the collarbones. And that exhale releases through the center of the heart, and the belly is just hugging in at the bottom of the breath. Let's take one more here. We're in this little side bend, inhaling the ribs. And exhale, release. Good, very gently beginning to rise the torso to center. Allow those right fingertips to release. We're trying the second side. Like me, you can always take a little shift to the left. Think of your left arm. Inhale, the left arm rises to the sky. And as you exhale, that gentle hinge to the right, just placing almost a curved shape into that side waist for a breath or two. Letting the exhale release, balming the nervous system, soothing the mind. Good, let's take one more. Inhaling. And exhaling. Good, very gently allow the body to upright itself, releasing that left hand down to the ground. Good, arms in front. Inhale, both arms in front. As you exhale, imagine pressing your palms towards me. Good, take one inhale here. We're pressing at the heels of the hands. Now as you exhale, open the arms up nice and wide, still continuing to press into the heel of the hand. Gently release the right ear just a little bit towards the right shoulder, maybe a millimeter of movement. You're imagining pressing the walls away from you. Quiet strength, fierce spirit. Good, allow the head to center. And let the left ear just tilt a little bit towards the left shoulder. Like me, you might have a lot of sensation through the forearms. Again, if your neck is feeling quite symptomatic, you may not be tilting the head and instead neutralizing your head at center. Good, let's slowly allow that head to center and release your fingertips all the way down to the ground. Good job. Now on your right arm, inhale, the right arm reaches in front. As you exhale, cross that right arm over to the left. I'm going to take a hold of my upper right arm and just gently hug the arm closer to the body. 2 breaths. Inhaling. And exhaling. Remember, the breath is its own practice. Let's take one more. Inhaling. And exhaling. Good. Release the supportive hand. Allow that right arm to fall. You might roll the shoulders out kind of silly-like. And we'll move to the left side. Inhale the left arm out in front of you. As you exhale, you'll cross the arm over the body. I'm using my right hand to gently hug the arm in, getting a little bit of stretch through this shoulder, not huge sensation if you can. 2 breaths. Inhaling. And exhaling. Good. Last one. Big inhale. And exhale. Good. Release the supportive hand. Allow that left arm to release across the body. And again, you might want to do just a little bit of shoulder roll. Closing the knees together. Take your time to shift just a little bit under the right of the chair if you can. If your chair is quite wide, not worrying about that aspect. Good. Bringing your right hand to your left knee. Take your left hand to the edge of your chair. We'll take an inhale to be as tall as we can today. And as you exhale, you're twisting to the left. The right hand presses on the knee. The knee gently presses into the hand. And we'll spend a few breaths here. It's quite a subtle twist, very powerful for the spine. Releasing your exhale, releasing all of your thoughts. All your thoughts will be waiting for you. Let's take one more breath together. And release. Good. Allow the right hand to release. Gently begin to turn forward. Now, taking your time, we're going to see if we can draw the right elbow to that left knee. Similar twist. You could stay with that last variation. Or if the hands are working today for symptoms, you can put the palms into a prayer. And we're again just gently twisting towards the left, same side. This time palms in a prayer. You'll be folded just a little bit forward. Let's take about 2 breaths together. Everyone will be breathing differently. That's okay. Just work with the longest breath available for your body. Let's take one more together. Good. Nice, soothing exhalation. Very gently allow the body to sit its way up. We don't want to pressurize the tissues too much at first. So you might need a little hip shift, a little to that second edge of the chair. Taking your left hand to the right knee, my right hand on the edge of my chair. Again, we take an inhale, which has a lifting quality in the body, long spine. And as you exhale, you'll use your hands just to gently turn to the right. Noticing a spiral in the belly and the body. Let's take 2 breaths together. Inhaling. And exhaling. One more. Inhaling. And that exhale. Good. Releasing your back hand, very gently allowing the body to unwind forward. You can stay with that variation for a second time, or seeing if your left elbow can gently come towards your right leg. If it works, you'll place your palms into a prayer. And again, there's just a sense of that pressure to help you gently turn just a little bit to the right. Let's take again just 2 breaths, slowly warming the tissues. Inhaling. And exhaling. We have our last breath. Inhale. Last exhale. Good. Very softly releasing the prayer. Support yourself in lifting back up and slowly recentering the body, never rushing between movements. Good. I'm going to sit just a little more towards the front of my particular chair. You can try this or sit where it feels safest for you. Good. We're keeping the knees fairly close together. Arms again to sides. Inhaling the arms to sides, rising them up as best as your body allows. And now as you exhale, see if you can begin bowing forward. Release the fingers towards the ground. Allow the head to hang forward. If you need spine support, walk your hands up your body. Gently allow the torso to sit upright. Let's try that move again. Inhaling both arms to sides, up towards the sky if permissible. And as you exhale, imagine that you're taking the moon and just bringing it down. Good. Allow the body to round a little and release. Again, I like to use my hands, supporting my back and rising up. If you have the strength, you don't have to use your hands. Again, one more half sun salutation. Inhale, the arms rise, radiant to the sky. And as you exhale, gently hinging forward, allowing the body to round and the head to gently hang. We're going to take 2 breaths in this forward fold here. You can always instead have your arms in your lap. Remember, you can always do this different. 2 breaths. Inhale here. Exhale, relax. Good. One more. Inhaling here. And exhale, relax. Good. Let's use our hands and our knees to very gently begin picking the body all the way back up. Good. Once you arrive, again, you can stay seated more forward, midline, or backwards according to stability and balance support. Good. I'm going to place my hands gently on my hips. As you inhale, see if you can lift your foot off the earth. Again, my view's not too good. I'm still having laptop troubles. As you exhale, you're going to see if you can kick your foot forward towards your camera. This is a lot of work in the quadricep. Good. Releasing the foot back down to the ground. Let's try and inhale to pause. Inhaling the body. As you exhale, lift your foot and think of kicking it forward. It can be much lower, that's okay. Releasing the foot down to the ground. Take an inhale while your foot rests. And then we use the exhale to lift and kick the foot open, strengthening your balance muscles. Good. Releasing the foot to the ground, taking a big inhale. And now let's just sigh out the mouth. We'll try 3 rounds on this left side. Let's take a nice inhale. And now as you exhale, lift the foot, kick the foot forward towards me or your camera. Good. Releasing the foot back down to the ground. Don't worry so much about breath and movement. Just take an inhale. And exhale, the foot lifts, that left leg kicks forward. Good, releasing the foot back down to the ground. Inhaling all that you are. And exhale, rising, and this foot kicking forward. Good, again, let's release that foot all the way back down to the ground. Now, walking your feet further apart, I'm going to sit just about midway on my chair. Good, placing the hands on the knees, take an inhale. As you exhale, you'll begin rounding your body between your legs, keeping the hands on the knees. Good, we're going to roll the spine on the inhale now. As you inhale, the spine rolls its way back up. The head arrives last on this inhale. Keep the rolling action of the spine. As you exhale, spill the body forward. Use your hands for support as you bow your head down. Good job, 2 more. Inhale, slowly letting the spine roll its way back up. Last one. Exhale, releasing the body forward. You don't have to go so low, only as much as your body allows. This is our last one. Inhale, slowly rolling the body up. And as you exhale, let the shoulders release all the way down. Good. Now, if you can, you're going to walk your feet even further apart. I don't have a lot of flexibility here. Your knees might go much wider. Good. Release your right forearm down to your right thigh. You'll see your body tip. Good. Let's inhale the left arm to the sky. And as you exhale, hinging towards the right, I'm going to let my top arm just drape. If that's too sore for you, arm down, or just moving in accordance to symptoms. Notice what happens to the breath when you get into your thinking. The breath will stagnate and stop. To interrupt the mind, keep focusing on the breath. Good. Let's very gently allow the body to sit its way back up, center the spine. Now your left forearm down to your left thigh. You can try inhaling the right arm overhead. And let the exhale relax you further to the side. Again, that top arm can drape, or it could be left down at your hip. Just take a couple breaths. Big exhale. Just one more. Inhaling. And exhaling. Good. Very gently allowing the body to sit its way back up. Now I'm going to adjust my sits bones further back onto my chair while keeping my knees fairly wide so that my hands can take a hold of the front of the chair. Good. Let's take a big inhale here. And as you exhale, you'll gently begin to bow forward. Good. Now, some of us are going to stay here. Some might be able to reach the fingers towards the earth, wherever you can naturally reach. The mind always wants more, but we're staying here in the simplicity of the moment, satiated with subtleties, appreciating sometimes minimalism in movement, in substance, in the moment. Good. Very gently begin to walk your hands to the chair if they were otherwise. Good. Take an inhale with that tall spine. We're going to try this forward fold again. With your hands in the chair, as you exhale, you can lean forward. Your body might shift around a little. And again, it might work that you can reach a little more towards the earth. Good. We'll take a couple of breaths in a wide-legged fold. Again, remembering you can be in this differently. The mind is always going to want to compare. to make a story about what is better. This is suffering. Stay in your sensation, stay with the breath. It's its own practice. You're all doing beautifully. Good, let's very gently begin to walk the hands back up, allowing the spine to upright itself. Nicely done. Now I'm going to shift forward on my chair a little bit more, allowing my knees to walk together. That's actually a lot on my hips. My hips aren't that flexible. Sitting forward on the chair. If your hands are working today, gently come to the ball of the right foot. See if you can take a hold of that right knee. If you're able, see if you can walk your hands further towards your shin or ankle and gently draw the right knee towards the body. Now the temptation is going to be to round, regardless of what's happening in your symptoms. See if you can be very upright, very dignified in your body. Good, let's take a couple of breaths here. Begin to sense the inhale is deeper into every cell. Every cell is emptying of toxins. Even if you feel like you're not doing very much with your breathing, it is happening. Good, last big inhale. And let the exhale release your hands, release the foot back down to the earth. Let's try second side. Again, you can lift up under the ball of the foot, see if your hands can reach. You can gently begin to draw the knee towards the body. Remembering every pose can be skipped or modified uniquely. You can't be wrong in this practice. You just be you. Let's take 2 breaths together. Inhaling. And exhaling. Good, last one, inhaling. And exhaling. Good, gently begin to release this foot all the way down to the earth. We're going to try a little bit of a breath exercise here. It's very simple. As you inhale, the shoulders are brought up to the ears, and a little puff of exhale as we drop them, like we're just letting it go. We're going to go for a few rounds. You can be at your own pace. Inhaling up. 3 more. 2 more. Last one. Beautifully done. Bending your elbows to see if your hands can rest on your shoulders. Now I find this a little bit awkward. You might too. It's okay if you're just bending through the elbows. Don't worry about the hands necessarily touching the shoulders. However they happen to be, as you inhale, bring your elbows towards me, your camera, rising the elbows up to the sky. See if you can spin them behind you and reach them down to the earth. Let's try a couple more. Inhale the elbows in front to the sky. Imagine drawing them behind you and to the earth. Good, let's do 1 more. Draw the elbows forward, draw the elbows to the sky, behind you and to the earth. Don't worry, mine aren't drawing perfect circles. Let's just go in the opposite direction. The elbows spin to the back of your chair. Imagine them winging up to the sky, now towards me or your device, towards the earth. Let's do 2 more. Inhaling. And exhaling. Good, last one. Inhaling. And exhaling down. Good. Allow your hands to release to the earth. Making sure that your right foot is stepped a little more in towards your body. We'll take the left leg out long. Good. Again, I'm sitting a little bit more forward on my chair. If balance is an issue for your body today, you're sitting further back. Good. Now hanging onto the sides of the chair, gently begin to bow your body forward, feeling that left leg nice and long. I'm going to place my left hand actually on my leg. My right hand is onto my chair for support. Letting the body round, close the eyes. Just let the thoughts think themselves. Concentrating for this long a time is its own training. But over time, the mind settles like a songbird coming to perch. This will allow you to again discern between suffering and pain, which helps us to access more pleasure, more intimacy with each other in every engaged moment. Good, that's a nice long hold. I'm going to use my hands on my legs to gently bring my body back up. Stepping the left foot in, taking my right leg out long, and then very gently pressing into that left foot. Allow the body to hinge forward. Close the eyes. And just cycle the breath a few rounds at your own pace. Good, let's do one more breath together. Good. Again, I'm going to use my hands for a bit of support using arm strength, especially if your core feels weakened. And we'll step that right knee in. Good. Take your time, lifting through your right foot. You're going to see if that right ankle can cross over the left knee. Now that requires quite a bit of hip flexibility. If that doesn't work for you, allow the knee to just sort of drift open, and you can move the knee back and forth. Just getting some range of motion in that pelvis. If your ankle is over top of your knee, again, we're hinging forward, just meeting sensation. Once there's enough sensation that you're required to focus, but the sensation's not overwhelming you, let's stay for a few breaths. Closing the eyes. Feeling the corners of the mind exhale, emptying of limiting beliefs. You are much more than you actually think you are. Good. And again, we're not staying too long. We want to warm and open the tissues without overwhelming them. If your ankle was lifted, releasing the foot to the earth. If you were waving the knee, stilling the knee. Same on the left side. Again, if you have quite a bit of hip difficulty, you may wish to just roll the knee from side to side as if coaxing oxygen into the pelvis, or taking the left ankle across the right knee. If there's some range of motion to move forward, gently letting the body round forward, closing the eyes and enjoying the breath. All of us on an individual and private journey, meeting in the commonality of being human with all our human strife. Good. Again, if you're folded forward, you may need to use some support from the hands to gently begin rising the torso up. And you can very softly release that foot down to the earth. Good. Now taking your time, I'm going to shift a little bit further back onto my chair. Had you been forward like me, we're taking the arms in front. Inhale the arms in front and overhead if you can. As you exhale, lay your heart down on your lap and see if you can keep your arms towards me. Again, imagine that you're lifting the full moon. When we do that, we actually activate the fascia tissue in the back of the body, which helps to stabilize, again, balance between the front and the back. That's really important for balance and for proprioception. Good. Now, if that's too much for the arms, you can always release them down. Otherwise, imagine bringing the moon to high midnight. As you inhale, bringing the moon up to high midnight. Good. Now the sun again into the horizon. As you exhale, hinge forward, taking a little pause. The shoulders are relaxed. They're lifting at the back of the heart. Good. We're going to try just one more. Inhaling the arms overhead, building quiet strength in the body. And exhale, slowly hinging forward. Good. This is our last rising. Inhaling the arms up to the sky. As you exhale, release the hands all the way down to the edges of your chair. Turn your gaze as if to look over the right shoulder. Taking a few breaths here. Good. Allow the gaze to center. Turn the gaze to look over the left shoulder. A breath or two here, depending on the length of your breath. Good. And now allowing the head to be drawn back towards center. Good. Inhale, the arms rise to shoulder height. As you exhale, take your hands towards the back of your head. Some people can lace. Some people might hold near or right onto the back of the skull. You'll take an inhale to imagine your elbows are pressing behind you. Now for me, this is quite a stretch. That might be true too for you. One more inhale. As you exhale, round your chin to your chest, close your elbows, round your upper back. Good. One breath, one movement. As you inhale, the head rises buoyantly, the elbows flare. You might even lift your chest and your head just a little. And as you exhale, slowly rounding in, like the petals closing back into its bud. And get a bud to a bloom. As you inhale, bring the head out to the open, flare the elbows, feel the chest in expanse. And exhale, slowly beginning to round in. Good. Last rising. Inhale, slowly flare the elbows, lift the head. And now releasing your hands down. Good. You'll make fists now with your hands, just regular fists. Lift the left arm out in front of you and begin to circle that left fist. I always think if you're in Alberta, you might have quite a bit of creaking in your joints or extensively dry winters. So again, you may have no sensation or like me, lots of sensation, especially if the dystonia is affecting your hand, things are gripping. Be very kind, very kind. Good, let's release that left arm. And now this right fist, reaching the right fist towards your device, towards me, and just circling it out. Making sure to go in both directions. Good, and allowing that hand to slowly release its way down towards the earth. Good, allow the eyes to close now. And just notice how you feel, having warmed the body gently. We're again going to do just a little bit of a breath exercise. I'm just keeping my eye towards the time here. Good, so we're going to do a little breath exercise and then find ourselves at about midpoint of the workshop. Good, so in this breath exercise, we're focusing on breath coming in through the left nostril and out down the right side. So in through your left nose and out through the right. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can use your imagination. It's actually very effective. Or you can try using your hand if your hand is working today. We're going to go ahead and close down the right nostril. Sorry, I'm mirroring you. So go ahead and close the right nostril. Inhale through your left side, your left nostril. Now closing that left nostril, exhaling out the right side. Close the right nostril and you'll inhale left. Closing the left nostril, exhaling right. Now continue this pattern at your own pace. It's simply inhaling left, exhaling right. Inhaling left and exhaling right. Now this is called Chandra Badana or moon breath within yoga practice. It's extremely calming to the nervous system. So give this a few more rounds. You might notice your nostrils whistling. If you have any congestion there, it might get overwhelming at times, at which you'll just release your hand, let the breath flow in both nostrils, and see if you can return to the technique. Again, that can be done in just your imagination, visualizing the inhale just coming into the left side of the nose. And imagine exhaling it out the right side. Let's do a couple more. Good, last round. Inhaling left. And exhaling right. Good, release your hand. Notice how you feel. There's not a wrong way to be experiencing what you feel. We have reached the midpoint of the workshop. We are about an hour in. If your body is feeling taxed, you feel fatigued, it's certainly okay to take a break. If you'd like to finish the practice, I recommend moving to a comfortable position on the floor and taking 5 or 10 minutes just to lay down, just to be with yourself as you are. If you're continuing with the workshop, we're going to do just a very brief standing practice before we move to the floor. If standing isn't available for you today, or you typically need a support person and don't have one available, you can of course remain in the chair and focus on the breath, making motions that are similar to the ones that I'm doing, or you can simply move to the floor. So taking as much time as you need, you can take, of course, some sips of water or excuse yourself to the washroom if you need. And I'm very gently going to be standing up. And what I'm going to do with my chair is turn the back of the chair towards me so that I have good standing support. This can also be done with a wall as well. Just something to support your balance while we strengthen. Good, so take as much time as you need Together, we'll just stand for a moment for those that need some more transition time. If you've already come to a standing position, there's no rush. You'll stand with your feet just a little bit apart, maybe 2 fists apart. Toes are pointed directly forward. The second toe is in front of the heel. Play around with moving a little bit side to side and back and forth, or you can circle around. And then notice if you can find the 4 corners of each foot. So just notice the 4 corners of each foot. Lift the kneecaps, open the shoulders, and just notice how you're standing in your body. You may, of course, have quite a bit of asymmetry according to your symptoms. And many of us have a sense of being sort of torqued or twisted in the body. This is part of why we straighten the body out. Walking the feet just a little bit further back, hands on the chair. Take your time to lean a little bit forward into the chair. So I'm just leaning a little bit forward. And you're going to walk one leg behind you, touching the toe to the earth. So just pause here. You'll feel the back of the leg a little bit awake. These are very weak muscles in most of our bodies. If you're able, see if you can lift the foot off the earth and just take a breath or 2. Notice if everything else is collapsing. Remember, your toe could be still on the ground or keeping it lifted for one more inhale. And we'll exhale and release that left foot back down to the ground. Good, switching sides, either leg is fine. Walking the opposite leg behind you. Again, you can take the toe to the earth, a little more pressure in the standing leg, or you can see if you can lift. It's maybe 2 millimeters for my leg, just a little lift of the leg off the earth. Good, releasing that foot all the way back down to the ground. Now you're going to turn towards your device. I'm taking my right hand onto the chair. It's okay to be opposite as you do this, making sure that you get both sides as well as you can. Good, so my hand is on the chair for support. And now I'm walking my opposite leg out to the opposite side, feeling the side wake up. Again, only if balance allows, see if you can float the foot. Really use your balance, the wall or the chair. Good, release that foot all the way back down to the ground. Good work. Now the same outside leg is going to point forwards. Toe on the ground, or see if you can lift the toe a little bit. Good, releasing that foot all the way back down to the ground. Good, take your time. We're gonna rise up towards the big toe mounds, taking an inhale to see if you can press up and exhale down. This can be sensitive, go mindfully. Inhale, see if you can press up towards the big toe mounds and exhale down. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, standing tall on the balls of the feet and exhaling down. Let's try 1 more. Inhale, standing tall on the balls of the feet and exhale, releasing down. Good, now with your left arm, inhale the left arm out to the side and to the sky. And as you exhale again, we're gonna hinge towards the chair. The ribs, in my experience, get very, very tight. The side waist quite tight. Good, let's slowly begin to release, standing up. Nicely done. Now I'm moving my chair, but you can simply turn around to catch the second side. I'm switching my chair to the opposite side. Remember, you don't have to do that part. You can simply turn around and listen to my voice. Same sequence, second side. Good, let's support ourselves with the hand on the chair, outside leg. Draw the outside leg out to the side. And then notice if you're shifting your hips. I'm going to have a sense of the hips leveling, the legs working, the toe can touch or the toe can float off the earth. It's a lot of work there. You're doing great. One more inhale. And let's release the foot all the way back down to the ground. Good, same leg, walk the toe forward. Again, you might be able to float it a little bit. Press the standing leg, noble body. Good, releasing that foot all the way back down to the ground. Nice work. Now thinking of that opposite arm, the outside arm now is my right. Inhale, the right arm rises along the right ear. And as you exhale, hinging to the left. Couple of breaths. Good, nice work. Let's slowly begin to stand up and release that arm down to the earth. Again, let's try coming to the balls of the feet. If balance is a challenge, stay in your safety. Let's try 3. Inhale, come up to the balls. And exhale down. 2 more. Inhaling up to the balls of the feet. And exhaling down. Good, this is our last one. Inhaling up to the balls of the feet. And exhale, releasing down. Good, now turning to face the back of your chair. Allow the body to turn to face the chair. Hands for support. I'm going to walk a little further away from my chair, thinking of my forehead meeting the chair. Good, take an inhale. And as you exhale, you'll stick your bottom behind you and just imagine your forehead coming down to the chair. Good, now press your arms as you inhale, standing up. Get your balance support. And again, as you exhale, think of just hinging at the waist, bowing your forehead very centered to the chair. Let's try one more. Inhale, standing up. And exhale, gently bowing your way towards that chair. Good, allow your knees to soften a little bit. Think of your spine very gently beginning to roll its way back up. Nice work. Now we're going to transition to the floor. If you have someone to support you in moving your chair, or you're able today, just allowing the chair to be moved off of your sticky mat. I'm adjusting my screen lower so that you can get a good view of me, hopefully here. Good. And so just allowing yourself to come all the way down to the floor. Now, I often recommend for the floor sequence that you set yourself up, with a blanket or a cushion that you have handy, but it's not necessary. You can always roll up your mat to get under the sits bones. So take as much time as you need. Remember, you're never ahead or behind. I'm going to be using my prayer shawl under my bottom. So just simply tucking it under where my sits bones would meet. And once you've arrived, taking your time, you're going to bring the soles of your feet together and the knees are just gently out to the side. Once this has happened, you can allow the body to gently begin hinging forward. I don't have a lot of range of motion. Your forehead might be coming to the earth, or like me, you're feeling a little bit stuck. That's okay. You're not actually stuck. So allow the eyes to close. I'm just seeing if my screen can turn sideways. Oh, yes, it can. Wonderful. Good. Hopefully that's a bit of a better view for everybody. Good. So keeping the eyes closed, these tissues are very congested through the inner thighs, through the pelvis. If you notice it's really a pinchy sensation, just back out of the pose a little bit. We want sensation to almost be a little bit more dull, just that good ache of a stretch. High-pitched pain is always the body suggesting a no. Close the eyes, taking about 3 or 4 more rounds of breath. It's okay, all the things on the to-do list will wait for you. Just stay in this moment. This moment is all we actually have. No past and no future. Just being here. Good. Take your time, allowing yourself to very gently begin lifting all the way back up. You take your hands under your knees and just help the knees softly close together. Once the knees are closed together, you'll take your right leg out long ahead of you. Let the left knee fall to the side, bringing the sole of the foot just somewhere along the inside of the leg. Now, if you have quite a bit of back troubles, you're going to slide that left foot further towards your device, towards your foot. Good. Let's take an inhale here. Again, we get that length in the spine. And as you exhale, gently folding towards your right leg. You might even place your hands on your foot or the hands on the earth. And avoid collapsing. There's no destination. Right where you are is perfect. Again, it can be nice to close the eyes. This is less information for the brain, so you can focus on the power of the breath. Now, if you've drank a lot of coffee this morning, or your mind just tends to be quite busy, a bit of a fire mind, slowing it down with the breath can be a little frustrating. But make it a practice. The nervous system will be enriched, and that's where healing can happen organically. Good. Last breath. Using your hands, helping your spine to walk its way up. No rushed movements. We can switch sides together. The left leg now draws forward. You'll bend in through your right knee. The right knee falls to the side. Sole of the foot roughly connected to the length of the leg. Again, taking an inhale, we lift the spine, relax the shoulders. If there's some forward movement, gently beginning to hinge towards that long leg. Closing the eyes. And creating space within your mind in which we can be Rumi's guest house. Welcoming all of the experiences, the goods, the bads, the highs, the lows, the gains, the losses. And then in this, we discover who we truly are. Good, nicely done. Allow your hands to support you and gently beginning to lift your way back up. Once you've arrived, taking that right foot forward. Again, if you notice your back is starting to feel a little bit achy, it's always okay to take a rest, or sitting up a little bit higher onto something. So we don't have that rounding Unless, of course, that's symptomatic for you right now, no problem. Because taking an inhale, sitting up very tall. As you exhale, imagine that you were trying to pass your heart over your feet. So there's a sense of reaching forward. Again, I don't have long legs. I can touch my toes. You might be touching your knees or somewhere else. Close down the eyes. And just notice inside a beautiful waterfall. As your exhalations empty you of any kind of stagnant thoughts, any doubts, any apathy, just trying the breath again and again in its fullness, the way the forest doesn't hold back in its expression of foliage. All the greens, all the meadows. Good, nicely done. Again, I like to use the hands to support myself in walking my heart upright. Once you've done this, begin to bend through your right knee. Once the right knee is bent, and it's okay to do this with a long leg. Once the right knee is bent, you're going to hug with your opposite hand, left hand to right knee. Gently begin to twist to the right. My left hand is going to come roughly behind me, just like a second spine of support. So there's again a little less rounding. Every inhale, the spine lifts. And every exhalation, the belly squeeze, and you might explore more movement in your twist. Good, last breath. That's a lovely hold. And letting the exhale gently turn you forward. Keeping your right knee bent, either your hands stack in front of the knee, or you might be able to take your forearms to stack. Either way, gently draw the knee as if pressing it into the body and feel how your spine meets it. Just the same way that your courage can meet difficulties. Some days the mind might say, I can't, I'm in too much pain. And we let the breath just find a little bit of literal breathing space. Just one breath at a time, that human dignity, that human courage. One more inhale. And let the exhale relax. The right leg lengthens now, bending in through the left knee. This time the right hand can take a hold of that left knee, returning to the left fingertips behind you. It's okay, whatever the mind is doing. The sunshine will be waiting. The bumblebees will be buzzing. And you will be settled and breathing. Last inhale. And as you exhale, the body turns forward. Again, you can use your hands, or it might work to stack your forearms, not a wrong way. Hug the arms or the hands into the knee. Feel the surgence of your heart. And just a couple breaths here. Sometimes we are stultified by overwhelming experiences. And so we just take it with the breath, one breath at a time. Good. Let's release the hands and allow that left leg to draw forward. Good. Mindfully take your time. As you inhale, slide the hands up the center of the body, reach the hands into the sky. And as you exhale, release the arms down to shoulder height. Again, we're going to tilt the right ear to the right shoulder. Let it be very, very subtle. We don't want huge movements in the neck, just a subtle, subtle twist, or sorry, subtle lean. We won't stay long. Let the head center, let the left ear, again, it's just like you were trying to lean into a conversation. And the body is always dialoguing, just so innocently talking to you. It's not wrong and it's not bad. You just want to listen and make your body safe. Good, allowing the head to center and releasing the fingertips all the way down to the ground. Good, take your time. Left hand to the right shoulder. And you're going to sweep the right hand, right elbow underneath to the left shoulder. It's okay to go opposite. One hand to one shoulder, opposite hand to the other. And your stacked elbows are lifting up towards your device, towards me, as if you were trying to hug the back of your heart. Tuck your chin a little bit to your chest and expand the breath. Good, let's release the arms down. That was a wonderful embrace. And now simply second side. And bringing the opposite hand to the opposite shoulder. The other arm goes underneath to the opposite shoulder. So you're just stacking the elbows. If you can, lift the elbows up. Tops of the shoulders are relaxed. Dropping the chin just a little bit towards the chest for a breath or two. Good, let's release the elbows, releasing the hands down towards the ground. I'm going to go ahead and remove my support from under my seat, taking it to the side. Gently moving your body towards all fours. We won't be staying too long. If you have pretty sensitive knees, being very, very mindful, especially according to what type of flooring you're practicing on or how thin your mat is. Once you've rearranged to all fours, you're going to walk your knees really far apart. Your toes roughly touch as your hips sink back to your heels. Now, this is a lot for many bodies, lots in the knees, lots in the ankles. It's okay if you need to be up and just working towards the sits bones coming back. If you're familiar with child's pose, you can walk the hands out ahead of you. Now, I like to bring my forehead to the earth despite the size of my nose, but depending on what's happening in your neck, you might turn to a cheek, or you might cross your arms, giving yourself support to bring your forehead down. Let's take a couple breaths here. And remember, it's natural for the mind to wander. And you'll come back to the breath again and again, a sweet reward of coming home. Good. Let's not stay too much longer, lifting your head had you been otherwise. Very gently beginning to rise your way right to all fours. This time, I'm stacking my knees roughly under my hips. my hands and wrists roughly under my shoulders. Again, we won't be staying too long. If you have really sore wrists, you can always make a little fist, or you can drop down to your forearms. It's not a problem. From either variation, take an inhale with a fairly neutral back. So it's not dropped, it's not rounded, fairly neutral. Take one inhale here. And now as you exhale, you are going to round and think of moving your hips back towards your heels. One breath, one movement. Inhale, coming up towards all fours. And exhale, that little round as the hips release back towards the heels. Good, one more. Inhale, coming forward to all fours. And exhale, releasing backwards, hips towards the heels. Good, very slowly beginning to rise your way up towards all fours. And this time we're going to walk the knees a little further ahead. You'll bring one of your hips to the side. Remember, there's not a wrong way to transition. Allow the legs to lengthen out in front of you. And we're making our way all the way to the spine. So take your time. There's no rush. We'll give you a nice minute to transition. If your core is feeling a little challenged, you can lay on your side and roll to the back. Once you've arrived on your back, it's no rush. Just lay on the back, and you're going to allow your knees to again open to the sides while the soles of the feet connect. Again, I'm not very flexible here. My knees hang in the air. If that's sore on your pelvis, simply bring your knees together for this next breath or two. So either variation, close the eyes. It can be nice to place your hands on your belly and just let the inhales open to the hands and the exhales dropping back into the spine. Good. From either variation, invite the knees to close together. Now you're going to take one of your legs out nice and long. Bring the opposite knee in towards your chest. Your hands will hang onto the knee or the shin. Close the eyes and enjoy breathing. Of course, if you've had any hip replacements, hip challenges, you might be doing more knee right over top of hip. Not challenging that range of motion quite yet. Good, let's take a few breaths. Just making sure that my phone is working. Okay. Good. Sorry, it's being a little challenged on my end. Hopefully everyone can still see me. Okay, good. Looks like we can. Sorry about that. Good, now releasing your hands, allow the sole of the foot to draw straight up towards the sky. And now very gently let the leg lengthen forward. You'll feel your core work. You can bring your leg as low to the ground as it works. And you're going to rise the leg up and down, inhaling the leg up and exhaling it down. If that's too challenging with a bent knee, or sorry, a straight leg, you can always do this motion with a bent knee. And you just want to feel your belly work. So just subtle movements. Don't worry so much about one breath, one movement. Just a long breath and these subtle core exercises. So tempting to hold the breath here. I'd rather you breathe than worry about the movement. Good, when you feel complete, you can allow the leg to bend Walk the foot out nice and long and just sway a little through the pelvis, kind of silly-like. Good, and our second side, bending the opposite knee in towards the chest. You can find your hands supporting that opposite knee. Close the eyes and enjoy breathing here. Just a few breaths. Good, so now remember that this little core activity can be done with a bent knee. It can be done with a straight leg. Your motions can be very, very minimalistic. You might be moving the leg up and down in millimeters, or depending on your other activity levels and your symptoms, you might be waving the leg up and down to the sky. So taking an option that feels safe, no soreness in the back, but a little bit of work in the core, just a little bit of work. Don't worry about breath to movement, just breathing and moving the leg up and down. Good, let's release that leg to the ground. You can let it fall, you can walk it long. You might turn the toes side to side, let the pelvis move. And now bending through both of your knees, you're going to walk your feet towards the edges of your mat. The knees now begin to sway from side to side. You'll feel your whole pelvis turn. Again, you might need to make the movements much more subtle. It's okay to make everything your own. We all contact universal themes, longing for fulfillment in career, in community, and how we actualize those are very, very individual. And this is like our yoga practice. Universal themes of connection, strengthening, lengthening the muscles of the body, but individually realizing them because each of our bodies are so biologically unique. Good, now allowing the knees to stand themselves upright. You'll walk your feet a little closer together. Knees are parallel distance apart. Good, if it's working, you can cross one ankle over the opposite knee. For many of us, that's enough of a stretch. Some people might be able to lift the legs and hang on to that right thigh or the right shin. Good, again, it's okay whatever the mind is doing. Just interrupting our limited ideas about ourselves by following the breath and creating space for new stories to be written. Who are you when you let go of the old and stay in the now? Good, let's release the side, releasing the top ankle to the earth had it been lifted. Switching sides at your own pace. The opposite ankle crosses the bottom knee. Again, that's plenty for many people's sensations. Or you might be bringing the leg into the body and finding a suitable clasp. Good, nicely done. Releasing the clasp,
releasing the top ankle down towards the ground. Very nice. If your back is quite sore, staying with bent knees can sometimes feel preferable. Totally fine. If walking the legs long feels available, you go ahead and walk your legs nice and long. Good. Reach the arms forward, palms on the ground. Good. Now taking your time, we're going to work with the right arm first. Slowly begin to inhale the right arm to the sky, back of the hand to the earth, and see if you can turn your gaze to the right. As you exhale, look up at the sky and swing that right palm all the way down to your mat. Now left side. Inhale, the left arm rises. Keep inhaling if you can, arm overhead. Turn the gaze to the left. And exhale, the gaze centers and the left arm comes down to the ground. Good, let's try this on the right side again. Inhale, the right arm rises. Back of the hand to the earth, turn to look to the right. As you exhale, the nose centers to the sky and the right palm comes down to the earth. Let's do your left side. Inhale, the left arm lifts. Turn to look to the left. And exhale, look to the sky. And the left hand falls towards the earth. Good. Bend through both of your knees now. With the knees bent, spread your arms open to shoulder height. I'm continuing to learn how to stay in my screen, my apologies. Good, with the arms open to shoulder height, bring both knees over the pelvis. Allow the knees now to fall down to the left, and it's okay, either side is okay. If you notice this is quite sore, try sliding the knees further away from the body. We're just adjusting. So if the knees have fallen, there's a sense of a little twist in the body. Let's close the eyes and take a few soothing breaths. Notice if your neck is overly contracted, of course respectful to symptoms, but see if the back of the head can be pretty heavy on the ground. The backs of the hands and the elbows and the shoulders all in touch with the earth. Good, now you can either go one knee at a time, taking the knees back towards center, and letting the knees fall down to the second side. Close the eyes and allow the cells to be nurtured by your willingness to be present as you stay with every breath. Eventually, becoming present becomes a healthy habit. In the grocery line, in the arguments with our loved ones, when we feel unmoored in the sea, we come back to the oceanic inhales and the soothing stream of exhales, all these waters of awareness. Good. And now bringing the knees back over the body. Wrap your arms around your legs. If it works, you can take the forehead towards the knees as if you were hugging all of your humanity, all the things you like, all the things you don't. Just embrace it all. Now we're going to be settling into what's called the Shavasana. It's a final relaxation towards the end of practice before a brief meditation. If your back is quite sore, mine often is, you can use something like a bolster or some pillows. This is just an example of one I have. Again, you could go ahead and take a little blanket. And what I do with that is tuck it under my knees so that my knees stay bent And that way I'm not back bending as I lay down. There's not a wrong way to lay down. You go ahead and get situated as best as your body allows. If you feel a little bit cool in your room, ensure that you're covered so the body isn't more contracting, but it can truly relax. So you'll take your limbs out all nice and long and open. Another thing that I found personally helpful, and I found helpful within the Edmonton chapter, is also taking a blanket under the head when you're laying down. So what I like to do is just kind of squeeze it in around my neck. And that way, if you're symptomatic, there's some stability, some support. And of course, if that doesn't feel comfortable, not doing it. So I'm going to give you a minute here to get yourself situated into a very comfortable lying position. If you have music playing, that can be supportive, or you may wish to have a deeper period of stillness or a deeper period of quietude. So allow your eyes to close, no longer worrying about the visuals of the screen. You can just simply hear the sound of my voice. And really take that time. I like to scoot the body around quite a bit, so there's a sincerity of relaxation in the areas that you can relax. If you're feeling a little bit ungrounded, the limbs closer to the body can be comforting. But if you notice your mind feels quite contracted still, and that's okay, you can really spread out into a star shape. From either variability, notice the eyebrows from the midpoint of the eyebrow to the outer edge of the eyebrow becoming quite relaxed. The area around the eyes smooths. And it's as though the bridge of the nose naturally widens and there is no more effort in the breath. That was a lot of concentrated work. I admire your endurance. Notice the points of contact in your body. That might be the heels, each heel, each calf, perhaps the buttocks, the sits bones area, the parts of your back that touch the earth, the shoulders, the elbows, the hands, and the back of the skull. And these areas become magnetized by the earth, being met by gravity as we come out of our mind and down into the resonance of a spring meadow. The sunshine is warm upon your breastbone. And the sunshine begins to radiate warmth throughout the body, sensing rays of light. All of the abdominal organs are releasing emotional tension. And every cell, all of the bones, have a sense of humming, like the sound of the crickets and the frogs. All this aliveness you see around you is now also inside you. And the body drops. And the body drops again. And every natural exhalation, there's a sense of the body just dropping. Now I'm going to be leaving you in a small period of silence.
Be assured that the sound of my voice will be bringing you back towards the end of our session. Allow yourself these moments. And a summer breeze meets the forest leaves. And a sensation of quiet awakening enters the fingers and the feet. You may wish to wiggle the toes and wiggle the fingers. Certainly, you could stay longer in this restoration, even drifting into a wonderful nap. Just notice the breath in soft little sighs, just a little. We've moved the chi or the energy or the prana throughout the body in very gentle and effective ways. When you feel sufficiently awake, undisturbed in your lake of tranquility, invite the river of your body to roll over to the right side, just curling into a little fetal position, or what they might call the eka or the first form. And notice this wonderful paradox, how the body feels dense and heavy with gravity, and yet the body in the body light and energized, the two working in harmony, the hemispheres of the brain. And if you're able, support yourself in coming into, again, a seated position. I am sitting upon my blanket. There's not a wrong way to sit. Cross-legged isn't available for everyone. You may wish to sit against a wall or stay laying down. When you feel shifted, you can rest the hands very simply on the lap, or you can cup your left hand into your right hand and let the hands rest on the lap. Let the eyes close. And this time, with the belly so soft, just see if you can notice the belly area and how the breath just naturally moves this part of the body. No forced or expansive effort in the breath. Just noticing this natural movement from inside.
When we follow the breath over time, there's simply less congestion in the mind. Perhaps we blame a little less, judge ourselves a little less, criticize reality a little less. Through that, we make space like Rumi's guest house, welcoming every arrival, no matter how unexpected. Just stay here, noticing your belly, noticing the calm. And the calm is always there under any agitation, like clarity always waiting underneath any confusion. And don't worry, the mind is thinking it's not doing it right or it's doing it wrong. You really can't be wrong in meditation. We're just learning to abide in our own presence in the absence of technology, besides my support, in the absence of other people, becoming much more comfortable simply being ourselves, discovering who we are when there's less suffering, even if pain still presents. Just another half a moment here together. I apologize, I'm trying to figure out the best way for my screen. I will learn. And now bringing your palms in towards a prayer. Take an attitude of gratitude for a moment. The ego actually doesn't like gratitude. Gratitude reminds it that there is a seamless stream of abundance, an interrelatedness between all of us. And we are always on a bedrock of connectivity and deeper support. Just name 3 things you feel grateful for. Thank you so much for joining me in this Yogatonia practice.